Africa is experiencing rapid urbanization. Statistics indicate that the continent's population is 1.2 billion people and is expected to triple in the next 50 years. It is projected that in 2050, the continent's urban population will reach 60%.
That poses quite a number of challenges, mainly the capacity of the governments to plan the urbanization. And then when the capacity of the governments cannot match the speed of urbanization, then the tendency is that urbanization tends to develop in a spontaneous urbanization.
In the past, urbanization used to be looked at negatively as a threat to development. But today, urbanization is becoming a powerful tool for development, with the United Nations Human Settlements Programme, UN Habitat, spearheading the rallying call for governments to consider cities as key engines for economic development.
Urbanization generates value. This is something that it's a kind of extraordinary aspect of urbanization. When you have a piece of land and during the night you change the catalogation of this land, and from being rural you catalog it as urban, the price of the land has multiplied by 10.
The African Union is sensitizing its members to raise the profile of urbanization as a force for Africa's development, as spelled out in what is known as Agenda 2063, a long-term regional agenda to achieve development in 5 decades.
Urbanization which is taking place on the continent has to be coordinated. We have to ensure that there is infrastructure to be able to cope.
This process will be supported by Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and the new Urban Agenda that was adopted during the United Nations Conference on Housing and Sustainable Urbanization in Quito, Ecuador.
I believe that we can use urbanization as a tool for modernization. One, in terms of the fact that it creates concentrated markets for development of agriculture. Aside from that, the movement of people into urban centers stimulates economic activity.
Liberia's population is relatively small, 3.8 million, and with our vast resources, mineral, agriculture, marine, oil, the potential for becoming one of the fastest growing economies is there, and I think that's already been recognized.
Today, the Seychellois have skills, enough skills to understand what is good for them, skills to be able to participate in the economic development. And this has been our forte, because we have a well-educated people, we have invested in people, they have proper housing.
We have worked on the roads linking the towns. We have worked a little bit on the urban roads, not as much as we would like to do. The housing is mainly done by the private sector as of now.
We have said, let us produce energy from solar, we continue with the coal, but also increasing the wind, using the wind, but using also the hydro. So the combination of these was not there before. In the process, they employ people, but also we raise the volume of energy.
My government has begun developing and implementing modern, seamless transport logistics and communication systems. These systems are to be deployed for the benefit of all stakeholders of our transport network.
We have effective decentralization where citizens participate in any process, including deciding on what happens in their resettlement. And this works for urbanization as well.
Government is initiating a pilot housing scheme of 2,838 units uniformly spread across the 36 states and the FCT.
Et vous savez que dans le monde,
Guinea can become an export country, and in the future, food will be more important than fuel because population is growing and food is not enough to feed the population. And my priority is agriculture.
We are investing quite a lot in energy because you can't have urbanization without electricity, and that's why we launched a program called the New Deal on Energy for Africa to provide universal access to electricity in Africa by 2025.
And these are the key messages worth emphasizing. Urban economies are critical for national and regional economic growth. Sustainable urbanization promotes development when well planned and managed. Sustainable urbanization requires effective urban governance and legislation, and public space, including streets, is the core of well-functioning urban centers.
You need public space in order to create roads, because in order to generate value for the plots, every plot must be very well connected. When you improve the connection of the plot to the fabric of the public traffic system of the city, the value of this plot automatically increases.